Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and we're taking a look at an old horror movie. When I say old, it's from 1980. I was 4 years old. The main reason why I wanted to check this movie out is because it stars Charlton Heston and a very young Stephanie Zimbalist. Now, if you don't know who Stephanie Zimbalist is, Charlton Heston is a big name, or rather was a big name in the movie industry. He was, of course, in movies like Ben-Hur, I am what is it? The Omega Man, Soylent Green, and of course the big one, Planet of the Apes. And I'm a fan of some of his films, so therefore definitely want to check it out. But Stephanie Zimbalist, she played Laura in Remington Steele, and Remington Steele is one of those television series from my youth, for my childhood especially, which I really loved. It was a it was a television series which I watched with my parents and my sister. We all loved it a lot, especially because of Pierce Brosnan, but we also loved Stephanie Zimbalist. Alright, so The Awakening is a 1980 horror movie from UK horror movie. Stars Charlton Heston, Susanna York, Stephanie Zimbalist. It basically is the third adaptation of Bram Stoker's 1903 novel, The Jewel of Seven Stars. So it's been made into movies and a television series, I guess. No, it was made in, yeah. So basically, Charlton Heston's character is a professor, Matthew Corbeck. He is an archaeologist, and well, he is obsessed with his work to the point of even ignoring his pregnant wife. So while in Egypt, somewhere they're looking for an unknown tomb that used to belong to an Egyptian queen. What is the name of the Egyptian queen? Nara? Kara, sorry. As in Kara from Battlestar Galactica. So apparently she was a very brutal queen, and she was, buried alive, and there's a curse that's on her. So it says, "Do not approach the nameless one, lest your soul be withered." So they finally managed to get find the tomb, and when they unearth it, Corbeck's pregnant wife, played by Jill Townsend, Anne Corbeck, she goes into a trance. She falls on her bed. Basically, the spirit of Kara kind of influences the birth. She's found later on, and they take her to the hospital. The baby is born initially dead, and then while the while the tomb is being opened up, that is, I mean, when the sarcophagus is taken out, that is when the baby is breathed life into once again, and she is okay. She's back to normal. However, this dampens the fact that Anne is very upset about the fact that one, she's being ignored. Second, Susanna York, who plays Jane Turner, her character seems to be very close and apparently in love with Matthew Corbeck, because they both are archaeologists. So Anne sees this, she is very jealous, and she decides to leave because Matthew was nowhere when the baby was born, stillborn, and then came back to life. So from this point, it is 18 years later. Matthew has married Jane, and they have they don't have kids, but they live a nice life. He's a professor in a British university, and they have they're having a good life together. He's estranged from his ex-wife and daughter. Daughter's name is Margaret. She is played by Stephanie Zimbalist, who's supposed to be 18 in the movie, but she's 24. It was a little odd to see that, because she definitely looks more than 18. So she is struck by this urgent need to actually be with her father. So against the wishes of her mother, she goes to England, and she is drawn towards the mummy, the sarcophagus, which Matthew Corbeck has to go back to Egypt, Cairo, and ask for it to be brought back for some studies, because it is getting the mummy is getting damaged due to its um, what do you call it? Due to the fact that it's been out in the open for so long after being covered in a hidden in a cave. So in the magic of Kara seems to want him to take it all the way to England because it wants to possess his daughter. So it influences things in such a way that the main person who was against the removal of the mummy is killed in an accident, in a freak accident. So now his successor, who is more sympathetic towards Matthew Gobbeck, allows it to happen. And of course, over a period of what do I say? Instances which are very strange, you find that Stephanie Zimmer's character Margaret is slowly drawn towards the mummy, and she is, has moments where she is possessed by the spirit, and they towards the end, there are these canopic jars that contain the organs of Kara, and he thinks he is doing a ritual to resurrect the ancient queen, believing that when she comes back to life, her grip over his daughter will be let go. Actually, it is a trick. When this ritual happens, she takes over Margaret completely. Margaret basically becomes the embodiment of Kara completely. And Margaret is no more. It is now Kara taking, and she kills the professor. And that's basically how the movie ends. We don't know what happens afterwards. I assume she's going on to do a lot of mischief in this world. So that basically, in a nutshell, is the film. The majority part is actually a little bit dull, and I wouldn't say boring, but it's quite slow paced, and until towards the end is when things do pick up. Excuse me, like a lot of films. It's kind of late at night. Like a lot of films. I actually watched this movie. Where was it? About a little while ago, but I just didn't get to reviewing it. I think maybe like 12 days ago. Although, to be honest, watching both of them is like, nostalgic fever. However, at that particular point in time, Stephanie Zimbalist, she plays a very sweet Margaret, but she isn't scary enough to actually, or even, she didn't have the chops at that time to basically pull out the evil side. It turns out to be a little comical. However, towards the end with the makeup and stuff, it does seem a much better fit for her. Charlton Heston is, of course, Charlton Heston. Even if he wasn't able to, the main complaint about the film was he wasn't able to pull off an English accent. Who cares? You can make him as an American professor living in the United Kingdom. However, that's not enough to actually make this movie very memorable. I would give it a 6 out of 10. Probably not going to really sit back and watch this movie again, but it was well worth the initial watch. So maybe sometime down the line I might get back to it again if I do feel inclined to watch the both of them. That was the other thing I did want to mention is Miriam Margolyes actually plays Dr. Khadira, and I initially did think this lady is kind of familiar, and then it actually turned out to be Miriam Margolyes. She's very funny in real life, but here she plays a very somber role. Alright guys, that's my review for the movie The Awakening. Thank you.